Yeah, we're gonna mute.
Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to Fanshawe College's School of Transportation Technology Open House this morning. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us this morning. What we're going to do is we're going to start with a short video that will give people some time to join in as well. And as soon as that video is done, we will start with our session. I will request all the panelists to put their video, to stop their video, bottom left-hand side, please.
There's a lot of history to this car in this area. First one's rolled off of the St. Thomas line.
The vehicle's the same age as the college, as the mascot of the college, is built locally.
We picked this car up. We got an Arizona car, which was the body was just beautiful, flawless.
It's a good foundation. The car was solid. This will be a great build. We had done a bunch of metal work and fabrication work to restore any holes or any of the structure of the body that needed to be remade.
We went ahead and bought a crate engine, a 302 Boss engine.
All new fuel injection components, computerized control, Mustang 2 front suspension, 4-link suspension in the rear. The transmission was rebuilt here in-house.
It's not just nuts and bolts. It's thinking, it's basically engineering.
It's a high-level skill set, and it takes a ton of dedication and a ton of time. They did a phenomenal job.
It's going to show what we can do.
Let's get her fired up and ready to rock.
All right, fantastic. Welcome everyone to the School of Transportation Technology information session open house this morning. That video was a video of a car totally done by the School of Transportation Technology for Fanshawe College's 50th session, 50th year in 2017. My name is Saurabh Malhotra and I will be your moderator for this session. We have an awesome panel for you this morning. We're super excited to welcome you from every corner of the world. What we would do first though is try to give you some instructions for this session, how the session will go this morning, and how can you ask us questions, because I understand many of you would have questions. First thing is you will see two things, chat and Q&A. Chat is what we'll use right now. I will ask you a couple of questions and try to ask you to introduce yourself. So if you can type into the chat, which country are you joining us from? And if you're a student, what program have you applied for in the School of Transportation Technology? So use the chat box and give us those, because I think our professors this morning would love to hear which country are you joining us from. So put that in the chat box. But if you have questions, during the presentation, after each program, we will ask you for questions. So during that time, please use the Q&A box to put in questions that you have this morning. So use the chat box and try to enter okay. So we have a student joining us from India. We have a student joining us from Nigeria, an agent joining us from Bangladesh, a student joining us from India for motive power technician, and another student from India joining us. We have our agent here from London, Ontario joining us. Again, a student from India. So fantastic. That's great diversity that we see this morning. If you want to enter that, yeah, fantastic. We have a student joining from Korea, another student for motive power automotive joining us this morning. That is amazing. And we are super excited to welcome all of you. So good morning, good evening to everyone joining us this morning. I would like to introduce at this point our host, Associate Dean Carl Mendonça. He is the Associate Dean for School of Transportation Technology and Apprenticeship. And I will pass this over to Dean Carl.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to all you amazing future Fanshawe alumni. Thank you, Saurabh. If I may just take a quick minute to basically introduce our panelist team here. So I'd like to start off by saying my name is Carl Mendonça, Associate Dean, School of Transportation, Technology, and Apprenticeship. The gentleman who is, responsible and makes things happen, the mover, the shaker, manager for international recruitment and market development, Mr. Saurabh Malhotra. We have an amazing program manager for Faculty of Science, Trades, and Technology, Mrs. Tracy Davies. We have our coordinator and professor, ex-industry professional, really well connected with the industry, Mr. Mike Kennelly. We have an amazing Fanshawe alumni, just like future students, currently working full-time as a BMW service technician and working part-time as a professor at Fanshawe College. It's probably something you never dreamt of or thought of, that you could probably get into teaching as well. And we also have our co-op student, Mr. Gabriel Escalante Molina, who is made this presentation possible. So welcome to everybody, and thank you to our panel for joining us. We're gonna start off with the pre-technology. As we finish each slide or program, we'll open the floor for questions for about 30 seconds, but feel free to basically connect with us and ask us questions towards the end. There's going to be lots of time for general questions. We'll also make sure our presentation is shared through Mr. Malhotra to all the students and the folks we have in I think about 85 to 100 countries. So thank you and welcome. We're excited to be here with you. And even after this presentation, we're more than happy to answer any questions you have. So over to you, Tracy Davies, our program manager for Faculty of Science, Trades, and Technology.
Wonderful. Many thanks, Carl. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Saurabh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see everyone coming through the chat box, find out all the beautiful places that you are coming in from. Thank you, and a sincere welcome to you. And thank you for taking the time. I think that you will really enjoy this presentation and all the information that we prepared for you today. So I'm going to start with just some information about one of our programs. It's called our Pre-Technology. And the really great part about the Pre-Technology program, it's a one-year certificate and it's a foundation program just to really help to spark your interest and help you to truly discover which part of technology that you're really interested in. So within the Faculty of Science, Trades, and Technology, that is the overarching faculty that you would be part of. We have 4 schools, and the pre-technology program allows you to get an understanding within the 4 schools, with the majority of the courses related to the School of Transportation Technology and Apprenticeship. So we will also have courses related to building technology, applied science, and also aviation technology, which many of our students, are quite interested to receive some foundational knowledge. So it's really meant to create your pathways and really help you to move into your right career program of choice. Because as we all know, it truly is, such an important part for you to find courses, find a program that really speaks to you, that really allows you to get excited every day, head into class, meet your professors, be with your professors and your fellow students. So this course is really designed to help you hone in and really understand what is your path, what is going to be your future career of choice. So I'll just move on to the next slide, just to give you a little bit of an understanding of how the program will flow for you. So it is a 2-semester program starting either in the fall. It is starting in the fall and the winter, and we are exploring some summer intakes because we've heard from many of you the importance of that. So you can start the pre-technology program in September or January. And just, you know, important for your preparation, the prerequisite is math. You're taking a math fundamentals. So, you know, as we always remind all of our students throughout the technology, you know, math can be enjoyable. It is an important part. It's an applied math, an important part for you to understand. And, you know, I've seen firsthand the professors really help to guide you through the math and help you understand how it actually applies to the everyday work you would be doing. So we work to make your math applied and truly understandable. Some students may ask, you know, how many hours per week? So it's just over 20 hours in your week for your in-class. You'll also be doing some online learning, which many of us are becoming adept at more than ever now. And also your labs will be included in those 20 weeks. And feedback we get from students, and that's something that Professor Mike Kennelly and the team will chat about after, but you know, the students really look forward to the labs. That's where you're actually doing your hands-on work and really getting some experience with the technologies that many of you are already very experienced with or excited to learn more about. And, you know, we really work as a team at Fanshawe to support you as a student. Many of you will come in with excellent organization and time management skills. For some of us, we have other skills, and this is one we need to hone, but we're definitely dedicated to helping you fit all of the pieces together so you could have your really best success within this program. So just going through some of the courses, this has been a really interesting slide for many students because it helps you to understand exactly which courses, and many of you have such excellent experience. It's nice to know exactly what your semester will look like. So the first semester, your fall semester, you are going to be doing some of your tools course, your intro to tools, health and safety. We do a skills for success, for AutoCAD, many of you have that experience. So just more of that. Then you'll get experience with welding, machining. And as we spoke about before, we'll do your math course and just your English communications course just to assist you. Because as you know, you move into the workforce, your English skills and your communication skills for all of us globally, more important than ever. Then when you move into the winter, you'll have some nice comfort levels in terms of the flow of courses, and you'll be moving on to computer applications. That's an online course to give you that experience to succeed within a course online. You'll get some excellent experience within chemistry, electronics, one more math course, one course that students give excellent feedback, learning the engine technologies, and then we'll give you some physics. So such a well-rounded way for you to obtain your foundations as you're heading into your career of choice. So again, if there are any questions on those courses, we can certainly answer those afterwards. And then truly the exciting part, and the part that Saurabh and Associate Dean Carl, the team really works to support you on, is your pathways. Because your pre-technology one-year certificate will give you such wonderful foundations, and it will help you to decide which pathway would you like to go into. Motive power technician, diploma, whether it's automotive or diesel, or the auto body techniques program. So it's really exciting to give yourself that ability to learn and grow and find out what is your path within the school. So from here, why don't we take some questions and see if anyone has any. We may not have too many questions sparked. You might have some to begin with.
Tracy, I actually have a question for everyone, which I'm hoping you or Mike can help answer. So everyone, you can see a poll being launched. The question is, how many schools courses are included within the pre-technology certificate program? You have 4 options. See what you think is the right answer. And then Tracy or Mike, you can help tell students what is the right answer. There are some students who've responded, more are responding. While we do this, if you have any questions specifically about pre-technology for Tracy, please put them in the Q&A. We will wait about 30 seconds for any questions to come in, and we might be able to take 1 or 2 questions for pre-technology specifically.
Yes. Excellent.
We have a lot of answers coming in. 52% say 4, 29% say 3, about 19% say 2, and about 6% say 1. Tracy, Mike, what is the right answer?
Well, we're indeed with 4. The majority. You've got that right. It is with the 4 schools. Courses within the 4 schools of the Faculty of Science, Trades, and Technology.
Perfect.
Yes.
Great job, guys.
Awesome. There are, so again, if you have any questions coming in, we can deal with those questions. There is one question, Tracy, that has come in. I'll read that out to you. Except the math prerequisite, any other admission requirements for this certificate program?
Mm-hmm. The math is the main prerequisite that is required. So that's why we really wanted to highlight that, just so students can get prepared as much as possible. That is the prerequisite and requirement for the students. Is it difficult in motive power? That's a great question. And I'm going to turn that over to.
Yeah, I can handle that one, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
So within any of the trades programs, there's appropriate math that goes with each of the courses. Now, this semester 1 and semester 2, they have foundational math, and then they have the trade-specific maths. And the foundational math in the fall semester needs to be completed ahead of time. So whether you do a fall semester or winter semester, you will be signed up for that math level 1, if you want to look at it that way. Now, that math course is more generic, and it's more of a review course than anything. So it'll be math that you should have already seen, just kind of the fundamentals. And then when you move into semester 2, then you'll have new math. It'll be trade specific math. And with pre-technology, since you're getting such a large introduction to many different trades, you'll see that you will have samplings of each of those trades maths. So I wouldn't say it's overly difficult. It's very reasonable, and it'll be practical. It'll be math that you'll actually be using throughout this program.
Awesome, thank you for that. I will just request the students to use the Q&A for any questions as well. We have questions coming in, but those are for the automotive program specifically. Yeah, so we'll leave that to after the automotive program. So I think we can move on to the next part of the presentation.
All right, so I'm the coordinator for the auto body program. The auto body programs, we have a number of different ones, but today we're going to highlight the auto body techniques. But before we do that, I wanted to highlight some of the fun facts here in this slide, in this opening slide that we have. So there's a few things to boast about our school that I think is nice for everyone to know, because when you're coming to an institution, it's nice to know what you're getting behind and what you're signing up for. So within our school, first off, we have many different campuses now. So our school has grown at an accelerated rate, and every campus that we have is state of the art. So there are very few leftover programs that exist within our older buildings that not have been completely renovated. And then also within that, because our campus is spread out, housing is very realistic for our students, where they can move to small communities surrounding the college. And many of London's homeowners, they commonly rent out their housing to students for Fanshawe, and our costs of living are significantly cheaper than our surrounding cities. And within the school, we have, it's almost too many to learn within your first year. We have such a strong community of support systems. So at our school specifically, we have 10 support members within administration, counseling, student success advisors, adaptive technologies, program managers, career employment services, team. That's all there to support the student, and it's there to help your Fanshawe College experience while you are at school. One of the things within that pre-technology program that's kind of neat is you get a taste test of all the different areas within the school, so you can really choose and pick which sector you want to go in, but then you get the full student experience while you are there at Fanshawe College. Also, within our program review process, so just to keep our programs current, we bring in some of the largest employers in the area to design these programs, because ultimately the end goal is that you will end up in that field of your choice. And so when we design our programs, we're designing curriculum that is specific to the employer. So they are choosing the courses, they're choosing the material, and so you are then getting material that is directly relevant to the trade you're going into or whatever industry you're heading into. And the employers have an expectation that you're going to learn some of the software, some of the techniques that are fundamental to work for them. And so the employment route is fairly direct. And, you know, our feedback is some of the highest in the province. So we have a Fanshawe, a 90% employment rate for our students. I'll just give you some quick facts here. So at Fanshawe, we have over 7,000 students that have chosen Fanshawe, international students, to come to Fanshawe. Total student body is 40,700 students. We were voted #1 college in the province, and Ontario has some very aggressive colleges, and we were chosen #1 for the 19-20 year. Our school, you know, has over 200 career programs. And so we have a large base where the, Tracy had mentioned the pathways that you can take. So what you land in, whether it's automotive, whether it's our service management program, our auto body, our pre-techniques program, there are pathways that you can take. And each of these programs tie into each other at some level. And so you can really navigate within our school your career training, even into management. So, you know, it's a phenomenal foundation to start in. And our environment at the school is rich. There's a lot to take in. So if we could move ahead to the auto body slides, I will review that program now. So the auto body techniques program, this is a program that I had developed a number of years ago, and it came out of a need from our industry that there were more positions available than there were people working in the field. And so what we developed was a 1-year certificate program. The idea was that it wouldn't be too long, but it would be enough of a foundation that the employers would then take the students and they would train them from there themselves. And that's the way our industry functions. So when we designed the program, we had suggested perhaps 2 years, and the employer said, you know, a 1 year would be perfect. And it really has worked out well. So we've been running the program now for 4 years, and the employer feedback is extremely positive. The placement rates are very high. Basically anybody who wants to do it, the employers are more than happy to take them, and we get preferential treatment over the other colleges in Ontario for employers. So we have employers from all over Ontario, even out of our catchment areas, headhunting our students ahead of time, offering them bursaries, moving allowances. And so this 30-week program is a wonderful foundation for anyone looking to enter this field. So our auto body courses, in case you're wondering, that we have are not just limited to kind of what we have in that second point there. So we have, you know, an entry-level auto body repairs. We're going to take welding or finishing, metalworking, and body repair. So for those that don't know, our industry is, if you've been in an accident, we fix your cars. If you have an old classic restoration vehicle, we're the ones that restore that vehicle. You know, some of these vehicles are worth in excess of $200,000, and so it's a very well sought after industry for those that are aware of it. And the skills that we cover, even in this 30-week course, are going to be some of the laws and acts that you'll encounter as an employee, some of the safety requirements you're going to have as our industry is full of all the different chemicals that now we can handle without any exposure to because of the PPE and the training that goes into that. We have metalworking fundamentals, fabrication, we have welding. One of the things that we've gotten a lot of positive feedback about, and even some articles written about, is the way we teach advanced training on cars. So now you're no longer just driving, you know, an older car that is completely mechanically driven. We have cars that are basically completely electronically driven. You're driving computers. You know, there's I forget the exact stats, but it's something like in a Boeing 747, there's so many lines of code that's used to run an airplane. And in automobile construction now, there's 10 times the amount of code just in the act of backing out your car from the driveway. And so part of our curriculum is in teaching advanced state-of-the-art repair techniques on modern vehicles. And that doesn't go for auto body, that goes for mechanical as well. And even within the new service program that we have, the new management program, you're going to need to know about some of those things. And so Fanshawe has many industry supporters in this. And so we've spent a lot of time developing our curriculum around these things. Next slide, please. So I'd spoken about our industry, our program having good job placements within our industry. And so one of the statistics that is very encouraging for all of the students entering into it is that for every 3 positions that come open in a body shop, so for every 3 people that retire out of our industry or leave the industry or move into management and exit the shop floor potentially, or just transition, there are 2 applicants coming into that. So there is a vacancy currently in our industry of 33%. And so our ability to fill job openings is actually unprecedented at this point in time. We've not seen this gap in employment in a very long time, and the technicians that are getting into it, it's a very well-paying job once you are through your fundamental training years. So that's a very interesting point to keep in mind when you're looking at your training is, you know, what is my employment rates? And that goes for automotive, period, and transportation technologies in general. So the other thing that we've built into this program is at the end of the semester, we link you with our testing center. And so you will have access only through Fanshawe for an exemption exam opportunity, which it's a very simple exam for our students once you're done our training regimen. But what it'll do is it will give you exemption from the future credentials within apprenticeship so that you can completely avoid a single year. And some people have attempted for the 2-year exemption, 1 or 2 years of your apprenticeship training working towards becoming a Red Seal interprovincial tradesperson within Canada. And that designation allows you to work on an automobile. Specifically, this one will be auto body, this trades license, anywhere in Canada. So once you've established that gives you a very valuable bit of mobility, or that is the launch pad for many people to move into ownership of business or managing a business. And so getting that, having that behind you, having that exemption behind you saves you potentially up to 1.5 years of your working career. So that last point there, so each level has 2 months of schooling. That is the design of our training, mainly apprenticeship. So as a student, once you're finished your post-secondary training in our certificate program, the next time we see you, you'll be back for only a 2-month intake. And assuming that all employment happens as it normally does, you'll be sponsored by an employer to come back for an intake of school that will be 2 months and heavily subsidized. And then the goal is that you will work with the school and your employer to receive your training for a few subsequent years, and maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on what industry you're heading into. But you'll be doing 2 years of school, or 2 months of schooling, followed up by 10 months of on-the-job training as a technician. And so those kind of the workflow, if you want to think of it that way, for how it works once you hit the floor. So we also have a question here, Saurabh, if you want to load that for us.
Yes. So all of you would see, all of you would see a poll question coming in right now. And I'll just read out the question for everyone. What are the employment statistics for the auto body industry? And Mike shared that within the presentation. So please go for it, Mike. I will share these results soon with everyone. But yeah, most of them seem to be answering this absolutely correctly. All right, I'm gonna share the results with everyone. And 63% said 3 job openings for every 2 applicants.
Yes, and that's one of the incentives behind the automotive industry in general. That's an auto body specific statistic. However, that is reigning true within any of our transportation trades.
Yeah, that's awesome, because that's what Mike students want to find out, right? What are the job opportunities for this program? We do have a question, Mike, for auto body that has come in already. If you would take that. To be able to get a job, does student need to apply for a specific license in this industry for the auto body program specifically?
Nope. So the way the job workflow works is you would get your training behind you, some fundamental training, and then you would let your employer know that you did that, and they would take you in, and they would have their own set of legislation that comes in once you start working for them. So you do not need any certification to apply for the job. But once you are actively working on vehicles, at that point, your employer will certify you as a working apprentice. And so there's nothing you need ahead of time for employment. The idea behind the course is that it is fundamental training that makes you more valuable than anyone else entering into the field, and also allows you to make more money. So the better you are with your task and trade, the quicker you work and the more valuable you are to that employer.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike, for such in-depth information about the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next slide, please.
So are you going to close the poll? Thank you. So thank you, Mike. As you can see, before I even start off with the next program, our faculty coordinators make the difference, and that's why I work for Fanshawe College. The difference between Fanshawe College and the other 23 colleges in Ontario is the people. The people at Fanshawe College are awesome. That's why we're known as Fanshawe Awesome. And as you've seen from Mike's slide, and he wears his heart on his sleeve. So thank you, Mike, for that. And that's with all of our people at Fanshawe College. It's the people that are the difference. So I've been tasked to speak about the motive power technician programs. There are 2 motive power programs we offer at the School of Transportation. The first one is automotive, and the second is diesel. If you're thinking automotive, think about cars, whether it's a BMW, Mercedes, Ford, Volkswagen, a pickup truck, anything that is, probably just up to about half a ton. The difference with Fanshawe College is we have our four principles of educate, engage, empower, and excite. That's what we want to do. We want to light your passion, and we want to help steer you towards that career. So Gabriel, if you, and as far as the diesel program goes, it's called diesel, but if you think about trucks, buses, coaches, as Mike says, you're pretty much driving a computer. When you hit the accelerator, there's no more mechanical linkages. Everything is fly-by-wire or drive-by-wire. And when I say diesel, it also includes tractors. And when I say tractors, to give you an understanding of an average tractor cost in Canada, it's between $200,000 and $300,000. So it just goes to show you the cost of the equipment, and you can probably imagine what they pay the folks that work on these equipment. The reason the automotive and truck and coach or diesel programs are so popular is because the pay is very rewarding, and the reason they have to pay people a lot of money compared to a lot of these trades in other countries is the liability. So if you imagine someone driving a car or a truck or a tractor and it loses control and it gets into an accident, there's environmental concerns, there's people, there's the cost of materials, which is not a big deal, and it's the liability that actually causes the employers to pay the folks involved in these areas very well. I can go to the next slide, please, Gabriel. Thank you. So the program overview, this program encompasses all aspects of the automotive, truck and coach, diagnostics. So when I say diagnostics, it's using of the specialty tools, using of the electronics, the computers, talking to the computers on the vehicles. Most of the computers will tell you where the issue is. Troubleshooting, you could get into sales, service, and repair. So the job is not limited. There's a vast field that you can get into. Courses within this program prepare our students aspiring to get into, they're known as service technicians. They're very highly skilled labor, marketing, parts management, inventory, merchandising, even starting your own business. And for a lot of our folks, they've gone into manufacturing, be it in the automotive, truck and coach, agricultural, heavy duty, and manufacturing industries. And as we go through the slides, there's names of probably a dozen companies that we've put on there. The one difference that Mike mentioned in his slide about Fanshawe College is our connection and our closeness with industry. That's the difference. So when you finish this program, it's a 2-year diploma. You would receive the equivalent of a level 1 and level 2 in apprenticeship, and possibly level 3. So once you go through the studying, you finish your student visa, you get onto a PR. As soon as you get onto a PR, you're on your way towards a citizenship. You can get into apprenticeship, so you don't have to come back to school, as Mike was mentioning. You get these levels automatically. And for convenience, we've tailored these to have multiple intakes during the year. So you could start in the fall, which is September, or in winter, which is January, or in the summer in May. So we have continuous intakes. So you could start off in the second semester and then come back to the first. The first year is common for the automotive and the diesel program. The second year is where you specialize. Next slide, please, Gabriel. Thank you. So this is the motive power diploma in the automotive. As I mentioned earlier, it is a 2-year diploma. Upon the completion of this diploma, One can work as an automotive service technician or an apprentice, including you could get into parts. You could start off working at the parts counter. You could ultimately get into being a parts manager. I love the sales out there because we had a student, Fanshawe alumni, that came to Canada just like you, our future students from China. And he is one of Ontario's leading sales men in the province. So his name is, he goes as Jack, his name is Zhu, and he is an amazing person, Fanshawe alumni. We're proud, we're connected with him. And here's the coolest part, Jack is going to be working at Fanshawe College as a part-time instructor in one of our new programs. You could also get into the service and the repair industry. And as we know, Canada's transportation industry is huge. Mike has mentioned there are 3 jobs for every 2 grads that come out. We've listed a few companies on there. We have people from Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Volkswagen, Ford, and all these other automotive manufacturers and dealers that are constantly in your class as you get into your second year. They come and do a presentation, a little bit of history about their company. They give you options as to which dealerships, which locations you could work in. So just because you're studying in London doesn't mean you are limited as far as your mobility goes. You can work anywhere in Canada. I'll give you some additional information as we go along. Next slide, please. Thanks, Gabriel. So the other diploma is the Motive Power Diploma in Diesel. Again, it's a 2-year diploma. Upon graduation, one can work in the industry as a service technician or apprenticeship. Again, you can get into sales, service, repair in Canada's transportation industry. We've listed a few employers that we are partners with. There are too many to list, but you'll see as I go along this slide, Hino, for example, is a Japanese firm. They make medium-sized trucks and cube vans. They're known as Expressway. The dealerships are known as Expressway. They're all across Canada. They're everywhere in Ontario. They have about 27 locations. The HR manager for Hino is a good friend of mine, Stuart. He visits our school. He visits our career fairs, our employer partner events. We have Volvo. Volvo has 2 dealerships. They're known as Trucks. There's Kenworth, who has probably about 13 dealerships in Ontario. Service are the Peterbilts. They have 13 dealerships in Ontario and probably about 80 in Canada. Carrier is the dealer for international trucks. They are in London. The companies mentioned here are in London and across Ontario and Canada. Vision is the manufacturer or dealer for Mack. Challenger is a transportation partner of Fanshawe College. They own about 100 trucks and trailers, so just giving you a bit of a mix. We have the John Deere dealers, and the local representatives are Huron Tractor Group. They have 13 dealerships in Ontario. Premier is another John Deere dealer. They have 12 dealerships in Ontario. Of course, they're all across the country. Wajax is in London. They have 2 dealerships. Brand Tractor is in London. They probably have about 50 dealerships across Canada. Again, there's way too many partners to list, but we should have listed Penske, because Penske is always in our building. They have 900 locations in North America. Yes, you heard it right, 900 locations. And I'll give you a bit of a cool story. I love this one, is when Penske comes into our school, they talk a bit about their locations across Canada. And then they ask the students, where would you like to work? So we recently had a student from India that said, he was joking, I'd like to work in Nova Scotia. And guess what? His dreams came true. He is off to Nova Scotia. Yes, the East Coast. Has good seafood there, good easy life, and good paying job. But his entire move, his traveling and everything was taken care of by Penske. So great opportunities. I'm hoping this would be a bit of a motivator. So if we can go to the next slide, I think this is very, very important. This is the difference at Fanshawe College, is the educational pathways upon graduation. You're young right now, you may not think about it, but once you get to my age and you have kids who are in high school and university, these are the questions that we ask our children, or these are the questions that you may want to ask yourself. After I graduate through these programs at Fanshawe College, what are my options? What are my pathways? What does my future hold? So graduates of either the automotive or diesel programs can register directly into the second year of the alternate program. So if you do the automotive program, you take 2 years, you complete that, you can register into the final year of diesel, and you could get 2 diplomas in 3 years. And that's the next line. It says after completion of one of the diplomas, you can complete a second diploma in an additional year. Here's the cool thing. Once you finish these levels, either in automotive or these diplomas in automotive or diesel, you would get an automatic level 1, level 2, possibly level 3 towards your apprenticeship. If you complete both diplomas, you would get all levels in the automotive service tech, which is known as 310S, or you could get the truck and coach, which is known as 310T. Another big one that I think is a seller is, as soon as you complete or graduate, you would earn 60 credits, which could be applied towards the degree. There's not many colleges in Canada that offer this option. And the cool thing is you can work full-time, get paid full-time, and do your degree online. For example, through the Thompson Rivers University, we have a memorandum of understanding, and all you need to earn is 60 credits. So you could work full-time, have your diploma, and have your degree. And the reason we always talk about further education is, as we have one of our panelists here, Mr. Nicholas Newman. He is a grad of this program. He is right now doing his degree with Thompson Rivers University. He's working full-time with us, and he's making a pile of money. So, and he's single. Anyway, so I'm trying to make this fun and throw in a bit of humor. If we can go to the next slide. I welcome any questions.
Carl, we already have questions for this program. We'll take a couple right now, but of course, at the end of the whole presentation, we can take more. I would just want to tell students that there is more information coming about the automotive service management program as well, because I know a lot of students are already asking questions about that. But there are a couple of questions, Carl, that I would pose to you around the automotive program. How many hours of classes are there in automotive power program, automotive technician program?
So we are roughly 50% theory, 50% labs. In 2 semesters, we're roughly about 1,100 hours. So we're about 550 hours between labs and classes per term. Correct, Tracy?
That's right. That's right, Carl. Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Sorry, Tracy.
Oh, no, Saurabh. We can also send that through if students are just inquiring per week, you know, what their week will look like per week. So we can also include that in the presentation that we send out.
There is another question that we have about algebra in automotive program. Is there algebra in automotive program, Carl, Tracy?
I don't believe we have algebra in the automotive because we would expect our students to have had a grade 12 coming in. We do have vehicle dynamics that has some math in it, but it's not, you know, algebra and geometry and that kind of stuff. And here's the difference. We have a student success advisor who is an amazing person. So if you're struggling with math, you don't have to worry about that. Just let us know, connect with our student success advisors within the first week, and we will tailor a plan for you. Here's another cool thing. Once you get into your second year or your second semester or your third or fourth semester, you could be one of those students if you want to give classes. There are peer tutors, and if I'm not mistaken, Tracy, please jump in. I think we pay something like close to $20 an hour for peer tutors. Am I correct there, Tracy, in saying that?
You know what? It's the standard wage, so it's cool, you know, between $13, $14, but it's really helpful because you can do that peer tutoring, right after a class. You can do it online, and even just adding on to what Carl has been saying, and something that Professor Mike Kennelly had touched on. Within the School of Transportation Technology and Apprenticeship, and really all of our technology schools within Fanshawe College, we work really quite diligently to make your math something that you can enjoy, because it's truly applied and it's practical. So you're understanding the reasons why you're learning the fractions or the various equations and how you'll actually use it in the industry. So many students say, the light bulb for many of the math questions they'd always had was able to be turned on while they were taking the courses, because they could see how it actually applies. So, we really tried to remind people that it's actually, you can take your math and apply it into something you already love, automotive, for example. And as Carl had noted, our student success advisors, our academic advisors, are just there in a heartbeat to support you, send you support from the Math Learning Center. We're all really in the same boat in terms of trying to really understand math and be able to apply it well.
Awesome. So that's great information. Carl, there is a question coming in about the additional third year of the program that you mentioned in your slide. So do they have to apply in advance, or can students decide after they've completed their 2 years, can they decide then to add the third year?
I would say yes, absolutely. Once you get into your second year, I would say you want to apply for it as soon as possible. As you can imagine, these programs are highly sold out. We usually sell out as soon as we open, and we have to waitlist this program. So I would say, yeah, for sure, you can finish your first year at which is common. As soon as you apply for your second year, look out for when they open up the time through the registers to sign up for your third or your second diploma as soon as you can. So watch out for those dates. Those dates are posted on Fanshawe Online once a year.
Carl, there are many questions coming in about automotive, of course, but my suggestion is if we can do the next program first, and then we'll come back to so many questions. Please keep putting in your questions through the Q&A, and we will come back to the questions.
You bet. So here's the coolest thing. One of the things that Mike Kennelly, coordinator professor, was mentioning earlier, and this is why it's so exciting to be part of Fanshawe College. New programs. We're constantly coming up with new programs, and I'd like to extend our thanks to Saurabh for being part of this process in giving us some direction as to what the international market is looking at. We take these things, we go and check with Immigration Canada and look at where the job demand might be. And then through our PACs, our program advisory committees that comprise of all industry partners, they basically have suggested that we come up with these new exciting programs. These are come highly recommended by industry partners. They can be done in 2 years, because I think as a student, you would need a visa for 2 years. So we're designing a 2-year certs, individual certs that kind of put you in the hot seat or give you a huge opportunity for jobs and for you to be able to pick and choose jobs. So the first program that we're launching is called the Automotive Service Management. So right from a 1-year techniques program to a 2-year diploma, to pre-technology, to management programs, we have it all. But this automotive service management is launching in September 2020. It's a 1-year, 30-week program. Upon completion, the graduates are prepared for jobs in the automotive industry, including jobs like service advisors, parts managers, and service managers. Of course, if you have had experience as a service advisor or parts manager or service manager, this is the way to fast track your career and get into management as soon as you come into the country. If you have not and you're fairly young, you can do both these programs and start off as a service advisor, earn your stripes, and get into management. The second program we're launching that are kind of tied together is automotive sales. We're going to throw some emerging technologies in the program. There's going to be some use of green energies, be it electric cars, hybrids, your hydrogen vehicles. And what this does is it prepares the grads for jobs in sales, be it automotive, truck and coach, agricultural, heavy equipment. So you can imagine yourself or someone you know going into a dealership and asking questions, and the people who are selling these $50,000 to $500,000 vehicles don't have an idea. So this prepares you for jobs. As you know, with the sales, I mentioned earlier, we have a Fanshawe alumni. He makes close to $200,000 a year in sales. So we're really excited to launch these programs. We have our industry partners that are helping us write the curriculum, so everything is going to come directly from the industry. Any questions on these?
Carl, so there are questions coming in, of course, but there is one question that I would like to ask. Can you talk a little more about the job opportunities for automotive service management, one? But second, also, a lot of students who are applying for these programs are coming in with a bachelor's in motive power or automotive or even the mechanical industry. So how does that fit into the automotive service industry that's there in Ontario or Canada? And also a little more about the job opportunities available for this program.
You bet. So if you can imagine the folks that have done their diplomas, their degrees, you've gone to school and you've studied a lot of stuff. You've basically taken in a lot of data. You've taken in a lot of information. How do you process that? How do you apply it? How do you use it? So the automotive service management gives you tools with business, finance, leadership, managing basically a small size to a large size dealership. You can imagine someone coming to you and basically asking you about, hey, I'm looking to buy a 4-wheel drive. I'm looking to have this option and that option. And then you're dealing with, you've got the information, but how do you, process it, bring it together and sell it to that person? How do you run a business successfully? How do you use the fundamentals of your mechanical, electrical, civil engineering that you've studied? How do you get that opportunity to get that job that is always away from you? How do you start an amazing career dealing with customers that every day is challenging, every day is different? How do you deal with parts? How do you deal with merchandising, inventory management? This basically brings it all together. It's like when you do a course, be it you're an electronics engineer or be it you've done your degree or your diploma, you go apply for a job. People don't want to spend the time or the resources or the money to teach you finance, business, management, and leadership. So we give you these skills. We prepare you to launch your career. And to give you a bit of an idea, we have just in the London area, I'm just going to talk about London. We have roughly about 150 dealerships, small, medium, large. And in every dealership, there are a minimum of 4 service advisors, at least 4 parts people. When I say parts people, these are parts advisors. There's probably 1 or 2 people with the merchandising in the background, and there's at least 1 service manager. Depending on the size of the dealership, there could be 2, they could be running 24/7, could be 3. So there are a minimum of 10 jobs available times 150 dealerships. That's only in the automotive. Now think about the truck and coach. There are probably about 40 dealerships. Yes, there's probably about 2 service advisors, so less number in the big truck and coach world. In the John Deere or the ag business, there's probably 2. Again, there's the same number of parts managers, service managers. So there's tons of jobs, tons of opportunities. And this is where the request has come through the our program advisory committee members. And I'll touch a bit on the automotive sales. So I wonder if you can throw this as a poll question. I'm hoping that people can come with an answer to it. I'm just wondering if people know or can tell me, and if you can answer this right, and you come to Fanshawe College, you come see me, and I'll make sure you get a nice Fanshawe shirt just like the one I'm wearing. So that is a promise. So can you guess how many salespeople work in a dealership, in an automotive dealership? That's just my question out there. But I can tell you the
Students,
number of, sorry,
Carl, the students can use the chat box to enter the answer if they want to.
Yeah, so I just want to get an idea if people know how many salespeople work in the automotive only. I'll give you an idea. In the truck and coach, there's probably about 2-3. In the ag side, 2-3, and same with the heavy equipment. But this program request has come from the automotive world. I just wanted to get an idea how many people work in sales in the automotive. But there's a whole pile of opportunities here. If students can do both these programs, you can get into, be it parts, you could get into service advising, you could get into sales, you could get into service management. And here's the thing, this is something we've kept in mind. The days of just doing one program and having one single specialty or area of expertise are over. You have to be multi-skilled, you have to have multi-disciplines under your belt, because in times like this, who are they going to keep on staff? It's people who are able to multitask and multi-skill. So this is the intention. You can move from sales. If you suck at sales, you thought you were a great salesperson, you can always fall back into the service advising or service management. So it's about options. It's about you, our clients, it's about listening to our industry partners, because they spend money on you, on their employees, and train them. And if that job doesn't work out, they don't want to let them go. So it's about opportunities. It's about options. So do you have any answers so far?
Carl, there is a student, one brave student giving us an answer saying 10.
Yeah, that's half. It's roughly 20. But in every dealership,
Wow.
they say every employee that works in that dealership is a salesperson, because they give a bit of a commission or an incentive to people who land sales. So it's 20. So you take 20 jobs times 150 dealerships in the automotive world only. It just shows you the number of jobs and opportunities available.
Can I jump in here really quick?
Sorry,
Sure,
Mike.
Mike.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so just to answer back to the question there was, we have students with engineering backgrounds coming in and what that's like. So in the auto body program, I can kind of say, we've encountered that in the past. And those students, they've noted, and we've talked about it because I ask, that's an interesting question. It has helped them excel. because they have the fundamental understandings of operations of the various systems. And our programs go into the end user troubleshooting and how these systems actually function on the ground when these cars hit the road and we're servicing them, or we're advising customers on how these systems functions, or sales, or whatever. There's many different outlets, but the engineering background has been an asset for any student coming in. It's not required, obviously, but it has helped them along the way, and they've just had a leg up on anyone else because they really understand how these systems are created and the engineering that goes into it and the thoughts, and so they're able to kind of move with that, and that's a great foundation to have.
Thank you, Mike. So, and especially for the automotive service management, students do require a previous education background. And with this education background, that's an amazing fit. I had a couple of students ask this question around, I have an engineering background, mechanical background. Is automotive service management a good option for me? And as Carl, you answered, and Mike answered, like it's really a great option for any of our programs if you have a previous background in those. There is a question, Carl, coming in again around license requirement for automotive service management program. Are there license requirements in the industry to work in this industry?
No license requirements.
Awesome. Thank you. So I think at this stage, we can open the questions, if you're okay with that, Carl, to all programs. If you have any questions about any of the programs, there are many questions that I have already. So I will try voicing them, and then one of you can answer. This first question, I don't think anyone has an answer, but I'll give you my 2 cents on this, and then Carl, you can jump in as well. There is a student from Philippines asking, for September intake, is it still possible to pursue the program because of the pandemic situation right now? Eve, thank you for the question from Philippines. I will say that Fanshawe is actively planning for all scenarios right now. As soon as we have a plan which works for everyone, which is actionable, we will share that with all our students. But at this stage, I would say don't change anything at this point. Once we announce, you will have the opportunity of doing something else then as well. But at this stage, I don't have an announcement or a clarity around what is going to happen. But I will say that Fanshawe is actively planning for all the scenarios around the pandemic as well. Carl, I don't know if you wanted to pitch in that as well.
No, you're absolutely right, Saurabh, in saying that right now Fanshawe is planning to get back as soon as our health unit or our government allows us to get back to school. We're hoping to be business as usual in the fall. Of course, we will be following all the guidelines set out by the ministry and our health and safety experts at the college and in the province and in the country. And obviously, we're not sure what that will look like, but we'll make sure that our students, our faculty, and all of us are safe. So plan for September like normal, but there's a lot of things that are out of our control. Be it flying into the countries, getting your visas, but as soon as we are allowed, it will be business as usual. Probably with fall, I think I've seen and heard we might start off slightly delayed, like September 21st instead of the first week of September. So we're moving our dates, our targets based on the environment. It is a difficult situation, a challenge we're all in together. But stay tuned, as Saurabh says, sign up, because I know our programs are filling quickly. And as soon as we hear more from our authorities, you will be the first to know.
Absolutely. And I will just say, as soon as there is a formal decision from the college, it will be communicated to all the applicants and students. Now, there are questions coming in, of course, there is a question around the Motive Power Automotive program. Are there IT courses included in the program, or are like IT skills required around the program as well?
So I can't say I have a definite answer on that. Mike, feel free to jump in. But the one thing I can tell you is whatever skills that are going to be required for you to be successful is what we will teach you. So I wouldn't worry about any prerequisites as far as IT or anything in particular, because we'll take the time to go through the curriculum and give you the hands-on and all the tools required to be successful. As I mentioned, if you're struggling with a certain skill, be it math, be it electronics, you're a bit weak in electrical, take advantage of the student success advisors, the peer tutors, and the resources the college and the school has to offer.
Yeah, there's no IT requirements officially. Unofficially, it doesn't hurt to kind of understand the basic functions of I assume you're talking about basic computing, but like high-end IT, absolutely not. Anything electronical or electrical will be taught in the course, as Carl said. So you'll learn that from scratch.
There is a question coming in. I think we might have answered this, but Mike, Tracy, if you can answer, are there again like licensing required for the motive power automotive or diesel program in the industry?
Tracy, you want to do it? I can do it.
Oh, you go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so in the to start in the industry, there is not. Once you are actively working, there's a system that you may or may not be familiar with that we call the apprenticeship system. And the employer, once you're employed and after you're currently working, the employer will sign you up under that system. And that is it's almost a stage gating system where there's steps involved to get your license. So to get a job, no, there is not. To be actively working in the industry, yes, there is, and the employer is doing that work and does it for everyone that comes into the industry.
Awesome. There is a question which is interesting, and I know School of Technology has really focused on this. And I don't know, Tracy, if you'd want to answer this, are there any girls doing programs in motive power, automotive, or other programs? And Carl would want to answer that, of course, as well.
Yes.
So yeah.
I just wanted to show everybody, this is one of the Autel diagnostic tools that the students will use. Everything is pretty much a touch screen. It's a play pad. So we teach you how to use this. This thing costs $5,000 and you will be playing with this. This is what the industry has. This is what we have in the college. Why do I have it here? Well, I have a vehicle that has been acting up, so I brought this home and I never used this in my life. I played around with it, the step-by-step diagnostics. It'll even connect to the Wi-Fi and tell you how to do it. So, but we teach you to be a subject matter expert in this. And guess what? If I'd taken my vehicle over to the dealership, they would have charged me, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, $150 just to tell me what's wrong. So it was a simple fix. I went in there and I just cleared the code and my vehicle drives fine. The check engine light is gone. And yes, as far as women, we have about, it varies from year to year. In the automotive and diesel programs, we have roughly about 2 to 7% of our students are women. We would like to have a lot more. And the reason is women can think on many different levels, and they can think about probably 16 different things at the same time. Maybe Mike can think about 3, but I know most men can usually think about one thing. So if they're doing a task, they're focused on that task, and they might be very good at that task. But what they're not thinking about is what is next. So men get to a point that they have to finish that task and then start thinking, oh, what next? So Canada is aggressively looking to hire and get more women in this field. So are there opportunities? Absolutely. you have anything to worry about? Never. There is a Ministry of Labor, there are occupational health and safety protocols in this country that protect women and give women equal status. Is it going to be a bit of a challenge? Sure, but is there a rewarding opportunity? Absolutely. So we welcome women. We do have women in our school, in our trades. You'll see women. There's a big movement in Canada. It's called Women in Trade. So we are absolutely delighted and excited to welcome any women, and we look forward to having you at Fanshawe.
Yeah, we had a class not that long ago, and out of the students who graduated, we had 3 awards to hand out, and all 3 awards were taken by women.
That's because they can think in so many different levels at the same time, right, Tracy?
Well, we certainly try. If I can just add to, I mean, one of the sources of pride that I find as, you know, being part of the Fanshawe team is the inclusivity that exists at Fanshawe across all schools. It's nothing short of beautiful and inspiring, because it's truly what is mandatory, and really, like the professors, you know, it comes down to a point where everyone is a student. So it is, you know, the inclusivity is amazing within the classroom, and also too within the Faculty of Science, Trades and Technology. We take this we also, you know, take this to various levels to support the females that are in the various programs. So we have a Women in Technology program, and we have events and initiatives that we run throughout the entire year. International Women's Day is a big celebration where we have, you know, all of our male and female students that join us, our professors, and it's just a great way to celebrate the equality that exists. Also, just in terms of extra support, we do various mentor evenings, so where we have industry professionals that come in and are available to speak with the students. We'll just, you know, chat over some coffee, tea, and some sweets, but get a chance for some of the females in the programs to ask the mentors, what's it like? Is there any preparation I can do ahead of time? You know, are there any mindsets that I need to take into consideration? And so that support is just a consistent thread. So we welcome all students.
And last year we had our Fanshawe student represent Canada in a world skills competition. So out of every college in Canada, a young lady, very professional, phenomenal young lady, represented us there, represented us very well. So, yeah.
Awesome. There is a question coming in around the co-op. Carl, if you wanted to answer that, are there co-ops in these programs? Do they require a co-op in these programs or not? And how does the division take care of that aspect of education?
So we have in probably the second slide, it was mentioned there, we have 2 career fairs at main campus at the college every year where industry folks come and take part of it. And we also have one thing known as the Employer Network event that we have at our school. So we bring the industry to the students. And earlier on, I'd given a bit of an example. I kind of stopped at Penske, but the Huron Tractor Group, the Premier Group, they have 12 and 13 dealerships. Between those 2 groups and the service and Hino, we have about 60 employers with 4 people at the table. So the opportunities for jobs are huge. We have introduced the co-op, I believe, in 2021 in the motive power. We're going to have 20 automotive, 20 diesel students, and we're going to give it a bit of a try. But as Mike mentioned, if there's 3 jobs for every 2 graduates and you can't find a job, you need to ask yourself, am I doing enough? Am I motivated? Do I really want a job? And hey, listen, if you have parents that can afford to keep you in Canada and have a lot of fun and not find a job, I'm with you. But if you're looking for a job, there's a lot of opportunities for jobs. You just have to go looking for it. You have to be aggressive. You can't just sit back and wait for the job to come to you. We bring employers, it's up to you to go get it.
Thank you, Carl. I would also say that what our School of Transportation Technology offers you is an environment, technology that is comparable to any employer. So while you are in classes, in labs, it's like you're working at an employer. So it's such a hands-on program. And as Mike spoke about, I think this is going to stick with me forever. 3 jobs for every 2 students. That's a great indicator of how many opportunities are out there. There is a question coming in about the examinations and how do examinations happen in all of these programs, and what do students need to score to pass and do better?
Hey,
So
Nick,
Carl,
I wonder if Nick would take this. Nick, is your video and mic on?
Yes. So typically with the examinations, you'd probably receive one at the end of each semester for probably most classes. Some classes may not require an examination. They may just require like a practical test, say, in the shop or something along those lines. So I think it would vary class to class. The classes that are worth more credits generally will have an examination, but the smaller ones may or may not, pending. So.
Awesome. And like as a follow-up, this is my question, not a student's question, around like how in a classroom or for a specific subject, like how do examinations happen? There is a final exam, as Professor Newman said, but what about the labs and the in-class assignments and out-of-class assignments, and how is the weightage of each of those distributed? If someone can shed light on
So
that. Yeah,
I can do that too also. So with the theory classes, generally that's where you would be kind of in the class, just getting like a PowerPoint or some sort of like formal presentation. Those classes generally do have a final examination where you would be expected to be in class for about 2 hours, given a length where you would write this examination. Now for the practical, you would have something like a package that we would follow week by week, and it would be generally a smaller class, so you get a lot more hands-on experience, and generally you would have kind of like a practical test maybe week by week or every so often that will kind of determine the end mark for that. So you don't really have a written examination for the practical side, but more so for the theory side.
awesome. Thank you. There is a question coming in about motive power automotive program or diesel program. Do students learn hybrid powertrain in this? It's a very specific question. I have no idea what that even means. Carl or Mike, if you wanted to take that.
So I'll take it if that's okay. Yes, we do hybrid engines. In fact, we have a demo hybrid engine just outside our transmission room. But here's the thing. When you come to Fanshawe College, we have a curriculum. Our faculty, our instructors have a job to do. But I encourage you to think outside the box. Think about any technology you can ever imagine, and bring the question to your school. Bring it to your professor. Bring it to your instructor. Bring it to me and say, hey, I'd like to see this. Can you give me some information on this? And we will make sure we bring the information to you. If we don't have the technology, I'll be pretty surprised. But a few phone calls and we can connect with our industry partners and make sure we give you access to that information. Even if you're interested in doing a bit of a tour of our industry facilities and visiting them, we have connections that we can basically, request them for a time, a date. Professor Coordinator Mike Kennelly is one of the folks that takes a bus and takes all his students to Toronto. It's a fun day. It's a fun evening, and I'm yet to join them on one of those, but there's nothing that we wouldn't do for you.
Awesome. Thank you. So there are a couple of other questions coming in as well. I was looking at a very interesting question right here. Yes, so this is actually a question for international admissions, so I can answer this. The question is around Duolingo, which is an English language test. We understand the IELTS testing centers are closed in many countries. So Fanshawe College does accept Duolingo exam, and we also accept IELTS indicator. If you go to fanshawe.ca/international, you will find the details of the English language tests that are accepted by Fanshawe College. So that's that. There are a couple of other questions coming in as well. There is a question around how to prepare for the automotive program before starting the program. Are there skills that they can work on apart from the formal prerequisites that are there to get ready for this program?
Hey, Nick, go ahead. Nick, I think your video is off.
Yeah, it says I'm locked out, sorry. It says the host has locked me out, so I can't start the video, but.
It's the beard you have going.
I sent you a picture of it, Carl, but oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. All right. Sorry, could you repeat the question for me?
Yeah, Nick, I believe the students were asking if they could prepare in any way for the automotive program, the diploma.
Okay. I would suggest, I guess the internet's a great thing. You can research a lot of systems on there and just get, a general familiarity. So when you do come, I mean, maybe you'll have an idea. There's a lot of stuff on the internet nowadays for the newest systems and things like that. So, I mean, other than that, I'm not really sure as far as what to do, but you could do it internet. That would work as well. So.
One thing I've suggested to students in the past, not as preparatory, but it would work, is if you have an opportunity within your peer circle, if someone's going to take on a task within their own vehicle, I would suggest that you do it with them. Do some research with them, some basic fundamental tasks, because some people want to take that on themselves. And that will just give you some acquaintance with some of the tooling used, some of the mechanical aptitude you may have to figure out, as you go. Stuff that helps when you get to school.
There's nothing better than breaking your own vehicle, so you can learn on your own vehicle first.
I've done that many times.
We all have.
I would say don't worry about it. Just come as you are. Come with an open mind. Come to succeed. Come to Fanshawe, drink some of the Fanshawe awesome Kool-Aid, and we'll make you Fanshawe awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly. And, when you get started too, what we find many students say is that, if they're just really engaged right from the beginning, and just taking advantage of all the supports that we have at Fanshawe, that will just really guide you with your week by week. Attend your classes, get to know your amazing professors, and the support team that exists within the school. And as long as you've got your passion and your enthusiasm and trying your best, you're going to succeed.
Sorry, Tracy, if I can add to that, a lot of our faculty, what they do is they try to, replicate your day at Fanshawe almost as a day at work with the industry partners. And a big problem is people showing up to work. So I would say if you just show up to school, to class, pretty much every day on time, and you get the attendance, chances are you're getting 25% off your marks already. If you hand in your assignments, your homework, and you come with that, you're getting probably another 25%. Another thing we're thinking of introducing from this year is probably 5% for industrial hygiene. So with this COVID pandemic, we want to make sure that you take care of yourself, make sure you take care of your colleagues, the environment you're in, if you do sneeze, if you do cough, all we ask is you make sure you clean up after yourself. We'll provide all the safety equipment, the spray nines and the cloths, whatever you need. And the rest is your schooling. So getting through the program, Nick, is the pass 70%? Please correct me if I'm wrong there.
For which, the pass for theory or
power program?
Yeah,
Just
so
the program itself.
I think you need a cumulative average of a 60 actually. So it's a C, I believe. So cumulative. So if you were to get something, again, depending on how much the course is weighted, you'd have to maybe offset a D with a B, or depending on what it was worth. But the cumulative is a C to graduate.
So if you attend your class, you get about 25% there. You given your homework, your lab assignments and stuff on time, you've got another 25% there. You're at 50. You should be a 75, 85% student. So that is what is required.
Yeah, if you are staying on top of things and completing all your assignments and things like that, there's no reason for you not to get a B, a minimum. So.
Awesome. There are, so I will take last two questions of the day. I think we've been able to go through most of the questions that have been there. So first question is around the laptop requirement for automotive programs. Are there specific programs that do require laptop, or there is no specific laptop requirement for the program?
The only program that we would prefer you bring a laptop to are the new programs being launched in fall 2020. And part of the logic behind that is there's a lot of software that we need to have you take home to do your assignments. So if you're coming in for a automotive service management in the fall program, or the automotive sales in the fall next year, please bring a laptop. Every other program, you do not require a laptop. Any of the tools required will be provided for you at your class. With the postgrad certs, I would strongly recommend you come in with a laptop. What that does is allows you to do your assignments, gets you familiar with the software the different industry folks are using. The more you use it, the more proficient you become in it. So please, for the automotive service management, I would strongly recommend you come with your laptop, or you're not going to be able to take the software home and work on it from home on the weekends.
Thank you. So I will take one last question, and this is a question that many students have asked. The question is around the class size, the strength of the class, how many students in each class for different kinds of programs. And I understand it's different for a theory class versus a lab class. So if you can elaborate on that a little bit.
So we have classrooms that have capacities in our school that are starting at 40 students, 60 students, 80 students, and then we have a couple of lecture halls that can accommodate 120 students. All that's going to change now with social distancing. So we will make sure that we follow the guidelines and just have the required number of students in each class. The cool thing we have at our school is we have labs, they're classrooms and labs. And just so you know, we try and take in our labs about 20 students or less, because we want to make sure that our students are safe and the instructor, faculty members can watch over the students and give them that one-on-one hands-on experience. I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yes, small class sizes is what I think the college applied learning is known for. So that is something that we excel at here at Fanshawe, and especially the School of Transportation Technology. So I think that's it for the questions. I do have a plugin that I want to tell all the students. Fanshawe International is hosting a joint session with LEDC, which is the London Economic Development Corporation, this Friday. LEDC is the economic development body of the City of London. It's an organization which promotes businesses within the city. What we're going to talk about is London and Fanshawe's career advantage. We're going to talk about what kind of industries are there in the city, and of course, all the tools that are there, not just from the college, but also from the city to help you be successful in your career. So students joining us today, if you want to join in, for a session about London's industry, not one particular industry, but overall London's industry. We are holding a session this Friday. You can find the details on our Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn channel. Fanshawe International is our name on all those channels. So please look at that and join us for that session. We would love to have you on those sessions as well. I would like to thank all of our panelists joining us this morning here in London, Ontario, and all the students who joined us this morning as well. It was a great and very, very informative session, and I think students really appreciated getting all that information firsthand from academic experts. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this morning. Carl or the panelists, if you have any final words for the students or any advice for the students, over to you for that.
I'd like to say thank you to you, Saurabh, and Priyank, who's working behind the scenes to make this happen and host this event. I'd like to thank all our students. Obviously, there's different time zones from a couple of countries I've seen there were India, Korea, Philippines. So thank you for your time. And obviously, a huge thank you to Program Manager Tracy, Coordinator Professor Mike Kennelly, Professor, now I could also say actor with the beard, BMW Service Technician, Fanshawe Alumni. Wow, there's a lot of titles. And one nice thing about Nick is he did the program as well as he's a astute businessman. He's got 2 or 3 rental properties on the side there, Nick. So yeah, very successful from doing this program at Fanshawe College. So yeah. I'm really proud to have you on board, Nick. Thank you, and for being a teacher at our school as well. And thank obviously, big thanks goes to the man behind the scenes, Gabriel Escalante Molina, for putting this thing together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you at Fanshawe College. Thank you. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Everyone, take care.
Thanks, guys.